Welcome to the Zachrilege cast. Okay. Chris ain't got nothing better to do, so I got him to show up tonight. I have about 3 words of notes, so it's going to be one of them type of shows.
I mean, there's nothing going on or anything in the world.
Such a downer in the world right now. So, speaking of that, I did a beer run, so I got the Celebrator from Eyinger. You know, it's one of those German breweries. It's probably been open since, who knows,
1500s or something.
And then there's the local quad, Bold Monk Indominus. So, German beer, Georgia beer. Can you tell the difference? Not really.
What's the name of the brewery? Wild Heaven or something like that?
Bold Monk.
Oh, that's a different.
Feels like about 50% of the breweries in Georgia have some kind of religious connotation. I wonder why. It's hard to say.
And for myself, I have a Moon Pie Stout, which is out of Chattanooga, I believe. Naked River Brewing. It's not great. Not Moon Pie ish enough to me.
I don't think I was a big fan of the moon pie. What was it? Oh god, I can't remember what it was.
Chocolate.
There was a certain one with peanut butter, and I think I liked, but
Vanilla's good.
Yeah, I should have gotten one of those dragon milk vanillas, but I decided maybe not on a Thursday. I'll have one maybe tomorrow. Yeah. But speaking of tomorrow, so I am going to a concert tomorrow night.
Why?
This was a concert. Tickets were purchased in December of 2019. It was supposed to be last year at this time, and it was put off. And now it's still on. Apparently, a lot of tickets are being resold. So it's feel free to make fun of this if you want. Alanis Morissette and Garbage. Liz Phair was supposed to be on the bill, but she bailed out probably for
redundant
smart reasons. It's just friends haven't seen in a while, so we'll go to a concert, and if it's really weird, we'll just head home. It's like, God, the whole going out and seeing other people, and then it's like, yeah, and like wearing a mask for however many hours it's going to be. That'll be what it is.
Is it in the stadium or a big venue?
I think it's an outdoor place, but like I said, we'll see how it goes.
Well, Alanis Morissette was the bane of my existence when I was in my early 20s.
Why is that?
Angry woman music, man. I was a direct victim of this, Zach.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Okay.
Alanis Morissette got women angry at me, man. Not all men. Okay? Not all men.
It is a popular refrain lately. I noticed a strange jealousy for some of the reactionary types toward the Taliban. They were like, "Ooh, the Taliban, they got their shit figured out." It's like, oh, now can you just openly say what you're for? Why even like try to sugarcoat it anymore?
Well, they were already doing that with Russia. They love Putin. I mean,
it was like that. You can kind of blame the media. Like, I don't know that whole left-wing media thing, but it's like the media just likes whatever can get popularity. And if someone says something and it can be refuted really easily, it doesn't matter. Because like every single Republican was like, when Trump made the deal, and I kind of wonder, where is there some of that $169 million going his way? The deal that he made to get out of Afghanistan all of a sudden got totally forgot when it was Biden in power, when he actually, had to complete the deal. I had to tweet him like, interesting that Trump like dumped the Paris deal and the Iran deal, but Biden decided to go ahead with the Afghanistan deal. Honestly, it's like 19 years and 11 months and like 30 days too late, but here we are. So, things go back to exactly what they were before. It's hard to turn hearts and minds when what you're really just doing is giving people money and trying to make them into a version of America when America ain't growing that well itself. So yeah,
These are the same people who try to do the same shit in Iraq, and you see how that works.
they really thought, they really thought, hey, we can just invade a country and make it into whatever we want it to be, because obviously these are the same people who think that certain races are better than others. And if there is a hierarchy, clearly the white man is maybe at the bottom, just based on how things have gone lately. Haven't done so well.
Well,
but the good thing is we get to say whatever the hell we want, and we're okay because, white guy content creators. Yeah,
baby. So the Afghan man, I'm gonna tell you something. I haven't actually been keeping up with any of the news shit for a while now because I just needed a break. So I actually don't even know what people, the left wing, newsosphere or opinion makers or whatever have been saying. But I mean, there wasn't really a good option. Now, I mean, I think it should have been planned better. I think they should have done better about the people who helped us, getting them out, but what are you going to do? I mean, it was going to do what it's doing now anyway, no matter what you did, no matter how long you were staying there, because we were there 20 years, put all this money into it, right? Troops, blood, sweat, tears, every fucking thing. And we gave money and arms to the Afghan army, and what happened? The Taliban ran over him in 2 fucking weeks or something.
Yeah,
It's a lie. It's a lie.
$80 billion. My favorite moment was, and a few people posted this, like Tucker Carlson was going off about, of course, the thing is, like, they're like, well, we need to care, like, all of a sudden they care about women. Remember when they cared about women's sports for 2 weeks, and they cared about women when it came to taking away trans rights, and they care about women only when they have a baby inside them. And then Tucker Carlson was like, yeah, but we don't want these dirty, like, refugees coming to our country. And then after he kind of went off on the, clearly it's only Democrats' fault that this happened, he brought on Eric fucking Prince to talk about it. I'm like, oh, you mean our American warlord as opposed to the Afghani ones? And
they wanted whatever he's.
I mean, he wanted. Just like Trump was like, well, we'll just pay these private armies to do these wars, which of course, an extreme markup, and we can care even less about human rights. We'll just kill more civilians because we started doing that we decided these lives matter less. Actually, lives in America don't matter that much. I mean, come to the South where we both are right now.
They don't give a shit. They've never given a shit.
I notice our governor in Georgia has been really quiet lately. And compared to Texas and Florida, it's probably a good thing.
Tennessee,
our ICUs are maxed out. I mean, I don't know if they're basically telling schools like you have to have kids that are masked. But one thing that just pointed out, this is where we are right now, is there was a guy with a handwritten sign saying, hey, our kids should be masked. And then there was a woman with a sign that was clearly produced by some, big money company saying, don't mask our kids. And he's like, I wonder what side the money's on.
AstroTurf bullshit.
It's grassroots. It's all, important. But it's nuts. It's just like talking with some coworkers, and it was like a family friend, and the family friend is like part of a group of people who are anti-vax and have gone, like, they've taken the whatever pill. And she admitted to this friend, like, yeah, I got vaccinated, but I can't tell my friends because they're so anti-vax, but I was afraid I might get sick. So I got vaccinated, but I can't tell anybody. And I'm like, isn't that what people were saying about the people on the left? Like, oh, they're trying to keep you from saying what you're supposed to say. But I mean, which side is suppressing speech at the moment?
It's projection, is all it is. You know, I mean, if you got people you can't tell because they're anti-vaxxers in the first place, they can fuck right off. They're not my friend.
I don't know. It's like being in a atheist group and not supporting the guy who's been sexually harassing women. You know, it's like it's a tough place to be.
Fuck them. I've already been fucking, ostracized anyway. So what the fuck do I care?
Aww, it's
They're
rough.
all a bunch of hypocrites anyway, for the most part. There are some good people, but like Mandisa, et al. But most of the white dudes are the ones causing the problems. Go figure.
Yeah, I think the drama is mainly in the white dude front. I mean, I think it's you don't have a dog in the hunt to speak. It's like the guys who are having arguments about vaccinations or people who probably are vaccinated or they're not. They don't have some kind of risk. Like people were talking about trans rights, probably don't know a trans person, or at least wouldn't. Or the trans person's like, I'm not telling you shit. Yeah, it does tend to be the people who talk big, or they enhance their credentials, like someone like Brett Weinstein, who's like, I'm gonna sell this alternate cure for COVID while at the same time bashing like vaccines.
I know, it's crazy.
And literally getting people killed. I mean, it's like every single day there's like one or two stories about this is a person who was anti-vax and now they died of COVID, or this is I guess there's just a ton of people got on the bandwagon, the conservative thing, like, oh, the vaccine sucks and now they're dying in the hospital because they didn't take the vaccine. But it's still not, I don't feel like it's making that much of an impact on people.
They don't. I mean,
everybody's pot committed, death committed. Is that the right term to use?
They don't care unless it directly happens to them. Yeah, I thought they were Christian. I thought Christians were supposed to be about helping people. Am I wrong? I thought Christ is in the name. Wasn't he?
I think it's about I don't know, lording your superiority over people, and then when it turns out you don't really know the words that well, and it turns out
I don't know.
I mean, just take as one example, like the way people are trying to treat the Capitol situation 6 months later, and then go back to like the books of the Bible and how far past the actual events they were written, and like how much things probably changed, and we'll never know. And that's like everybody rewriting history. That's what it is, and then that's like your foundation is based on not much. It hasn't even been that long. I assume that means the next major religion is going to be based on Trump, because Trump is such an awful person that he's going to be considered like this great spiritual leader based on stories people tell about him like 80 years in the future.
We don't have a future.
That's true. When the Elon Musk like Mars thing happens. Well, honestly, those guys don't seem like they could handle being in space that long, so they probably won't.
Let's try. Let's try.
They'll spend a lot of like government money on that. I mean, that's what was like interesting. Like what was it? The RM Brown today was like Ben Shapiro talking about the Afghanistan situation, and he was like going off on people who went to college and got this expensive degree, and like the government shouldn't be paying for that. And it's like, no one ever says that about the F-35. No one says that about the $700 billion like military budget. I was wondering, like, if we're out of Afghanistan, shouldn't our military budget go down? Like, isn't that like one thing we were spending a lot? I know it's like we'll find ways to spend that money. We should just invest all of our many dollars we've made from podcasting into defense contractor stocks, because that's really our only hope.
I mean, you're not wrong, actually. That's pretty steady. That'd be a pretty steady stock, Actually, let me go get to my stockbroker. Although right now wouldn't be good. wouldn't be good because they're pulling out. They don't have, oh, they might get back in. Russia comes in, they'll be right back in there. Or China. I don't,
Yeah, I think it was there's whatever $1 trillion worth of minerals like lithium in Afghanistan. So that's one reason why it's been a popular place to go.
and poppies. Lots of poppies.
Well, from what I hear, the drugs, I guess, that are brought into the U.S. mostly from Mexico. So, Viva Mexico.
Yeah, but Afghanistan produces like a majority of the world opium production, I think. Which is
Chris knows things. Thought you weren't paying attention.
It's true. I mean, it's like the vast majority of opium production comes from there. And like at first, the religious authorities weren't gonna, because it's drugs. But then they realized how much money it was making. Like, maybe we'll kind of change our mind a little bit on that. Maybe Allah, maybe he was cool with opium.
I mean, it's amazing based on how much money we spend that the military would not have all the money it needs. But it seems like we've had to do these weird off the books kind of deals to make money. Like the was it selling the arms for hostages situation in the 80s that should have gotten Reagan impeached, but he was impeached proof because he could sometimes do a speech. I mean, people were saying that Biden can barely complete a sentence, and I'm like, well, yes, I kind of agree. Like, the funny thing is, anytime someone says that about him, most Democrats are like, yeah, he kind of is old and, he kind of struggles to keep his place. No one says that about Trump on the Republican side because you can't say anything bad against him or he was going to sick people on, even though he doesn't really exist anymore on social media.
Oh, God, for which I'm eternally grateful.
I think it was Matt Gaetz, of all people, who was like, how come the Taliban's on social media but Trump isn't? I can't believe he still did his little tour with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I can't believe it's still happening, but it's
he doesn't
of
have
course
anything else. He's got to do something before he goes to jail. If he does go to jail, he'll probably end up.
I guess whatever that buddy it is who's about to go to jail, his sentence got suspended briefly so he could keep talking to the feds. So it's like, well, maybe eventually. I don't know. I mean, I did hear that like the time between the event and the end of the Nixon presidency, between Watergate and Nixon resigning, was like 2.5 years. So, but I feel like Trump's been doing bad shit for like 50 years. It hasn't caught up to him yet. So I find it hard to believe that him or any of his like cabinet members, like Pompeo, goodness, the people that got into government because of him, it was rough.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The whole thing's just so fucked up. It's hard to know where to start,
But if you don't pay attention to the news, what do you pay attention to, huh? Cats, and you share all of like your TV watching. Anything good you've been checking out lately?
Surprising.
You don't seem to like anything.
Well, it's not my fault. Netflix, the streaming services put out shitty original movies, right? I haven't seen one yet that is just great. Okay, Beckett, apparently the new one that came out on Netflix is supposed to be good. Or at least decent, right? But anything else, any of them put out, like, what was the one? Mortal Kombat? What the fuck was that?
Wasn't that HBO?
Yeah, that's any of them. Prime, HBO, Netflix. Their original movies are booty. Their series are usually...
Seems like they only are trying to get stuff that people can pay attention for a week or two. Like, was it Suicide Squad? Apparently you didn't like that, because I saw the last one and you could tell it was like there was a lot of work done and it still wasn't.
It's garbage.
Any good.
Garbage. I watched that too and it was garbage. You can't polish a turd, man. I mean, it was goofy. It wasn't even... The dialogue was cheesy. It was just...
I mean, I thought that was the whole James Gunn thing anyway.
Yeah, but it's
Like
There's one
Guardians of the
movie.
Galaxy. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's not
that was cheesy.
snappy. You know, it's not clever. It's just really trite.
Hmm.
And, you know, there's a difference. The characters are better. Marvel's just better anyway. I mean, it's DC characters except for Batman and maybe Superman are shit for the most part. You know.
It's impossible to keep up. I don't know. Of all your, somehow you have access magically to everything, but do you get to watch the Disney stuff?
I magically do now.
Oh, really? Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Ho, ho, ho.
Because all these movies, and then there's the shows, and it seems like with the Marvel Disney stuff, there's like a new one out every like month.
Well, Marvel's killing it.
I have like if I theoretically get Disney, I don't think I could catch up in a month. Like there's like the Mandalorian, Loki, there's what Captain Winter Soldier, the WandaVision, there's the What If that just started.
That's good. I've been watching that. That's pretty good.
See, I'll have to get your connection. We'll trade beer for Disney Plus. I know it's like $7 a month or something. It's
And what else? The Marvel movies. I think I've seen all of them at this point.
Well, the thing was, we had Disney with like whatever phone carrier we had, and then we changed, and all of a sudden, I was midway through like the first season of Mandalorian. It was gone, and I was like, "Well, I saw the the last two Avengers movies, the $2 billion ones,
Yeah.
and yeah, so
Infinity War and Endgame.
there's a bunch now."
Yeah, and they're all pretty solid.
All I know is the female stars of the last two big movies that came out like sued them because of the whole situation with streaming. Like Scarlett Johansson sued them, and who's the actress with the 101 Dalmatians backstory movie, Cruella? She sued them.
I'd sue for Black Widow being such garbage. If you want to sue for something, that movie was shit too. That was one time that they sucked. That was a bad one. That was a bad.
I just heard it was kind of like meh, and really, I know they had to like play with the timeline because a character died and all, but it was like, yeah, this movie probably should have come out 10 years ago. Like, why couldn't they have a female star? Is it just because that's the only thing with the Marvel movies is they have to play it kind of safe because they have to like be worldwide. Like the strange thing where they did the remake of Red Dawn, and in the original Red Dawn, the Russians invade us. In the remake of Red Dawn, the Chinese invade us, but they had to make it North Korea because they had to release it in China to make their money back. And I was like, how did North Korea, Russia invading us in the 80s didn't make any sense either, but it made more sense than North Korea apparently invading the US. I don't know how many people live in like total in North Korea, but
they have a big ass army, but how the hell
we do too. And we've been invading people, and you see how that goes.
Yeah, we got all the experience.
We can bomb the crap out of people, and we can, kill a bunch of kids and bomb like weddings, and hey, it's cat time. Woohoo!
Like Comrade Coconut.
Comrade. But don't you wait? I forget. You like coconut or not? Seems like in beer.
No, I don't.
You're kind of fluid with that.
The name was already.
Your beer sexuality seems a little fluid to me.
Well, I'm a connoisseur,
Of course you are. Well, I think it's 3 weeks from this weekend. Be next time I'll be in Nashville. So.
For what? Titan shoes.
And what's great is I'm a full-time employee at my company. I actually have vacation now. So
Watch out.
I haven't decided if I'm going to take the Friday before or the Monday after. It's always impossible to come home after like a football game, so it'll probably be Monday. But I'll probably be coming up on Saturday. I don't know. I was thinking like every time I come up, I get the hot chicken, and I feel like I overdo it on the hot chicken. So maybe we should try out one of those places on that list you sent. The other like African American themed kind of restaurants that aren't hot chicken. or
Which
the
I
kind of
want
under the radar restaurants in Nashville.
Yeah, I want to plug Zandra Peters. She's the one that gave me that. I went to school with her. She does articles and stuff, and she writes articles, and she wrote that. So
Is Conrad in favor of the equal distribution of pets?
well, wherever she can get them. Apparently, if I get near a counter, she wants to jump up and get attention. So.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So yeah, let's some good old Southern. We'll go to Jefferson Street and just take a stroll down there. There's some good stuff down there as far as good old soul food stuff.
I mean, the only thing it stinks about the trip is like the things you looked forward to. Like I used to really look forward to going to Titans games. I kind of like them on TV better. And of course, they're going to be 68,000 people there. I'm like, what percentage is going to be vaccinated in Tennessee?
I wonder.
Is Tennessee one of the lowest?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they already sold. The stadium's sold out. I mean, I think so. We'll see. I can just hold my breath for 3 hours, right? That was my advice to Corey when she's talking about the governor, DeSantis. I love Ron DeSantis like selling this alternate cure.
This fucking guy.
And one sign that our country isn't so great is that the leaders get this like crazy medical care that no person can get. Like governor of Texas has already had 3 vaccinations. Like he already got the 3rd booster, and he's taking all this extra stuff and taking all these precautions, and he still got sick because he's dumbass who showed up to an event unmasked. I mean, there you go. It's the brand, you know. I don't know. Does it lead us to be less considerate of the non-vaccinated? Like people have been saying, well, the people who weren't vaccinated, they should go to they shouldn't, of course, if they don't believe in the vaccine, why should they believe in medical care? So why do they even go to the doctor? But of course they do. And it's like, should we not show compassion for people who are going to the hospital and probably going to be in debt because of it, because they listen to, you know, the Shapiro's, Carsons of the world?
There was an opinion piece in the L.A. Times. I think it was the L.A. Times where this doctor is like, I'm losing my compassion for these motherfuckers. Of course, it's California.
I mean, it's risking people's lives. Like if you work in medical care, they're putting you at risk, and you're having like work here. Like you can't take time. You just have to work because everything's at capacity. Like in Mississippi, they have all these like portable hospitals because they don't have enough room. And Georgia was at capacity. I think we're close now. I mean, what I was thinking about is like, 20 years ago, I had the whole hospitalization near-death experience. And I'm like, if I went to the hospital in my condition I was in 20 years ago today, would they have kicked me to the curb? Would they not have checked me as closely? I was pretty close to death when I went to the hospital. But because of everything going on, like, would the care have been to the level where maybe I didn't make it? And I think that's happening with a lot of people who had like scheduled surgeries and they're getting put off because they can't do it because of this situation.
Well, I got lucky. I don't know if lucky is the right word, but when I broke my shoulder, it was just before. It was literally like, I think a month or 2 before they started doing everything. So I got lucky on that front, I guess. There was, where was it, Fort Worth, or was it Dallas, where he said your children's going to have to die. You have to wait for a kid to die before you can get a bed in the ICU because they were full up in the pediatric ward or whatever.
And that's the thing. They just, a couple of months ago, expanded the vaccination to, was it 12 to 15-year-olds? So anyone under the age of 12 can't get the vaccine. So it's like people who have medical issues and can't get the vaccine, but just every kid. And I remember seeing a thread on Facebook like a month ago where it was like, well, masks don't make a difference, so there shouldn't be a mask mandate for kids. And it's like, are you sure about that? It seems like it's just a precaution. Like it's not 100%, but it makes
They're
things better.
sacrificing children for the cause, basically, is what it comes down to.
Well, people are just so confident that like kids don't die, and I think they're less likely to die, but you're definitely hearing about it more. I know people have been pasting the name of like a 5-year-old who died in Marjorie Taylor Greene's, district. The problem is she didn't really live there. So that's a problem. They really don't care. I mean, well, they've just found out like Lauren Boebert, like her husband had some $500,000 deal with like an energy company, and she's on like the energy commission. And
I saw that.
Rand Paul's wife bought all this stock right after they found out about COVID. It's like, yeah, really, one thing you can give Biden credit for, he didn't buy any stock the whole time he was in the Senate. Otherwise, fairly terrible. But that one part is like
blind trust, just like the president.
It's just ridiculous. That like you shouldn't, if you make any money when you're in Congress, I keep saying this, it goes back to the government. You might as well pay down that debt that people all of a sudden care about because we're spending money on actually, I don't even know if the infrastructure deal is happening. It's hard to say because it was like the House was getting a little snippy. And I couldn't tell if it was on the people who are pushing for more money or the people who were like the conservative Democrats who were like, no, we're spending too much. Like when the tax cut happened, nobody said that. Nobody. But, we spend money on military, it doesn't matter. Spend money on police, it doesn't matter. We spend money on schools and infrastructure. Ooh. Give people poor people money and opportunity. I don't know.
You keep fucking around, eventually you're gonna find out.
Are we?
Eventually. I don't know when it's going to be. Wait till I'm dead.
I mean, it seems to kind of trickle out even on the QAnon side and like the super left side. Like, yeah, the people in government don't really care. And the kind of these elites, maybe that's a problem all the way around, but it's only a problem for people who don't agree with you. And I mean, that's the thing. You got to hold people to account, and it's tough because they're living so high, like Pelosi and her, what is it, ice cream freezer kind of thing. It's like, yeah, it's pretty out of touch. Plus, she's like 80. I mean, come on.
That's another part.
We don't need
fucking old. Too old. Just pass the reins already. Shit.
There's some stories like people don't like to hire old people. It's like, well, why do we have a 70-year-old president and an 80-year-old like woman who's running the House? And probably won't be. Somehow the Republican, they'll just cheat their way to it in 2022. But they'll get power of that, and then what happens?
Fucking Mitch McConnell, that fucker. If anybody needs to die, but he'll live to 120, probably. He'll be as bad as Strom Thurmond, or whatever the fucker name. Strom Thurmond, that racist bastard. He lived to like 90-something, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody thinks it's all like...
He never left.
There's karma, and what comes around goes around. It's like, doesn't happen.
No, that's a nice little story people want to tell themselves.
Exactly. And here we are. Thanks to the state of Florida giving W the election. Weird. Here's what we got. And then people are like asking W. Bush about like Afghanistan. I'm like, the dude is like a war criminal and he's painting like watercolors.
And the thing is, it wasn't really even, he was a puppet for the most part. It was Cheney.
That's true. Dick Cheney was the guy.
That whole Wolfowitz, all those motherfuckers go back to Nixon and shit. They were the ones that really started,
They kept getting recycled. Yeah, like Roger Stone. Like he's been around forever. And it's just like these guys are such obvious criminals, but it seems like being a criminal is a good thing on that side.
There's a documentary about Roger Stone. And it's pretty... he has a tattoo of Nixon?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is wrong with you? I mean, this guy is just soulless. And he think it's great, which, okay, whatever, but...
It was part of that big video that was like all of the reactionary types and how they were doing before Trump was up for election the second time and then after. and Roger Stone. He was the one who was like, what was it? Like a warehouse that had a bunch of flammable material came up in flames, and then he was like, "Oh, it was a drone strike because my office was 2 doors down, and the government was trying to take me out." I'm like, dude, if the government's trying to take you out, you'd be out.
Yeah, we can get
Even
a
though
motherfucker in Afghanistan. We can.
you have to say our military doesn't seem too competent. There's a definite lack of competency. The ability to just have brute force and a bunch of awesome weapons. Like, well, our weapons end up in other people's hands anyway. So,
Oh yeah, man, the Afghans, whatever. They got free shit, man. They got all those weapons. They got planes and shit. Oh man, it's great for them, you know. Same thing after Russia left.
and the thing was, like, even after Vietnam, it was 250,000 refugees were brought into our country, and now I think it's like 3,000 Afghanis. It's like, come on. All those people that helped, like all the people that had interpreters and people that worked, like, you can't stay in the country.
That's crazy.
And weird is the Taliban. Like, I'm surprised that some of the Trump people who, like Sean Spicer, isn't like working with the Taliban, because like they had this like press conference, they're like, women are going to have rights. I'm like, sure. We don't really care about that here either. So, you know, you can say whatever and you're fine.
They're going door to door to try to find people that worked with NATO and shit.
It's like, how is that a popular thing? But then you see how popular Christianity is in our country, and there's nowhere people are like, oh, there's all these people running for government, like, oh, the Bible and the Constitution. I'm like, there's nothing in the Bible that says democracy. It's not there. This version of government was not inspired by the Bible in any way. But hey, if you can, you know, two great tastes that don't taste great together. Instead of peanut butter and chocolate, it's peanut butter and hemlock. But people are like, delicious. Maybe that's the new hot beer flavor, right?
Oh God. No.
Speaking of summer stouts, is there anything worth getting in the stores around your parts?
I'm still looking for, and that's not a stout, but it's the Velvet Rush, which I've been looking for.
Ooh,
It's
I like the
supposed
name.
to be like a brown imperial brown ale with like, it's supposed to be boozy and kind of.
I mean, that's the thing with the Nashville beers. I just think of the high booze, you know, like Worldwide Stout, but those things are just death. They're dangerous.
I don't like it. I've never liked one. I got it once, and I was like, nope.
I think it's one of those ones that, you know, you joke that you have to like cellar, but at the same time, I haven't really seen much. Actually, I had a friend who was selling all of his Bourbon County Stout, but he was having to ship it. And I'm like, the problem with shipping beer is, first of all, it's not really legal in Georgia. And second of all, it costs about as much as the beer to ship it. So everything ends up costing twice as much. And you know what? The last time I Bourbon County Stout, I was like, it's not that great.
Yeah.
I think it was the limited nature of it that was.
Yeah, it always makes it more.
And the versions, like every year there's like one version that makes it to Georgia. And those versions are just sitting on the shelves because it's like $20 or $25 a bottle. It's like, come on, man. I don't know what is worth that at that price. Only that Ology peanut butter and chocolate. Now that's worth it.
That's sitting in my fridge waiting for you.
I'll have to bring some good stuff, huh?
It's just sitting there looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, don't look at me like that, man.
I only have one left.
Well, it ain't going nowhere.
That's okay.
I want you to know I'm using control just for you. Just for you, man.
Yeah, I was impressed. You're like, was it Saturday night? You were like, I didn't have a beer. I'm like, does not compute.
Yeah. I got a little too crazy Friday night. Go figure. I smoked a little, but I didn't really drink. You know, it happens. I'm getting old. You know?
Getting old.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't your upcoming birthday, is that 47?
check out the Big Zach now on my birthday. Yeah, that's wait, how old am I? Yeah, 47. Yeah.
I feel like
47.
when
So
we're in the
yeah.
range because that was
Scary.
the weird thing. Like hired on full time, and then like I was doing all this onboarding, and one of them had like literally my years, month, day of my birth. Like I don't even know that I'm 47, 6 months, and 23 days. You know, it's a bit
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. No. But
Round up.
I'm having the atheist at the pub this weekend. My birthday's on Monday. So I'm taking Monday off, maybe Tuesday, it depends.
Whoa.
I don't know how that's going to go. That may be the last one for a while because of the way everything's going. But this is outside, so it's not as bad. But I'm not doing any inside shit if I can avoid it. There's no
Yeah,
way.
every time I met up with friends at like breweries or to eat, it's like, is there outside seating? Okay. So,
Yeah, I'm not going
probably
out
till the
there.
end of time. I don't know.
Well, now, yeah. After this, I mean, they're the one I go to, man. They've really done it up, man. They've got like tarps and shit over the some of the picnic tables and shit. It's not even a tarp. It's like some fancy bamboo shit. I don't even know what the
Hmm.
fuck it is. It's not bamboo, but some weird material. I don't know.
Well,
Anyway,
you'll have to name some kind of beer I'll have to bring up as a birthday gift or just because
well, I trust your taste. Surprisingly,
what will pair well with whatever we get.
yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Or maybe that what was the beer place we stopped at? Maybe their selection will be better next time.
Main Street.
Well, I'll get you a ticket for summer stouts. My gosh.
God damn, that was
I was
like
like,
how much was that?
$160 for a beer festival? Okay.
And you get like a
I don't
couple of.
know. They usually limit because, like, I remember going to like the Monday night one and you'd get X amount of tickets. And of course, the beer I like would be the smaller amount, but that'd be fine after, a few of those. But for $160, I don't even know what they could have that could make it worth it. But
Well,
I saw somebody
that's
posting on it online. A few people were like, I'm going. So,
have at it, bruh. I mean, I know they're doing they're doing proxies. I know they're allowing people to do proxies, but I don't.
I
I
mean,
would.
maybe because they're giving you a couple of bottles, they're worth something.
It's the
I don't
bottle. That's
know.
all it is. It's just you're trying to get, but it's not worth the bottles. I don't think it is. Not for 160. Not when I can. We went down to fucking Main Street and got how much beer for like what was it, $50, $60 or something. We got a fucking shit ton of beer for that much. And you're telling me I gotta pay what 3 times as much for basically 2 bottles and some samples? No. And what? I gotta get to hang out with a bunch of hipsters? No,
Well,
bro.
yeah, I mean, you'd like that.
I can go to a regular East Nashville bar and do that. I ain't gotta pay 160 fucking dollars to do
You
that.
probably have a lot of hipsters. You probably have a lot of, God, that would be so awesome if he just bumped in the bench pier. That'd be awesome.
Jesus, I wouldn't even know what to say. It'd be
Wearing
like I
his
freeze.
cowboy hat. He's probably has like security like
Oh,
following him
you
around.
already know. Yeah, you already know.
I mean, that was the part. It was like I love the virtue signaling. I remember a conservative friend of mine who first brought virtue signaling into my world, and I'm like, interesting that the people who do that now seem to be on the conservative side. Like his whole like, I'm going to move to a conservative state, but then to the most liberal city of them
Yeah,
all.
I don't understand that.
And he was talking shit about like people who got degrees in like film, and it's like, you tried to be a you went to like Harvard Law and you tried to be a screenwriter and you failed at that, and you see the movies that are out there, like the shitty scripts and the stuff that he's producing. Oh, that's hard. Like the school shooter movie that like his company bought, it was just universally panned, and he's just going to bring more of that into the world. And it's like,
Well, he got
you
what's
just
his
make
name?
fun of the stuff you want to be.
Yeah, it's all it is. It's jealousy. That's usually what happens, right? I mean, he got that chick from the Mandalorian who was talking shit.
Oh, Gina Carano, yeah.
And they're gonna make a big movie together. I'm sure it'll be. I'm sure it'll be awesome. If it's anything like your book you wrote that they panned on
Oh my gosh.
Behind the
Yeah, did you
Basket.
notice Robert Evans is starting his own like podcast thing? Of course, I don't know, it's behind our heart radio, but I love how he does his shows and then he's about to do his ad break and he's like, we're going to talk about Raytheon who bombs kids. And they're like, yay. And the companies give him money. So, it works for a few.
Yeah, you can get away with it. I mean, it's a good job if you can get it. It's good work if you can get it.
Exactly. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but he ends up in the protest. He ends up in the shit, as it were. But yeah, got a couple of interviews coming up. So if you want to get in, I think we can make it happen.
Yeah, somehow I never got Reggie because I've known him. I met him at NanaCon before the banning.
Yeah, he was there at the second one, I think.
Yes,
The ones at the Universal whatever.
the church, which was
And I met him, and I didn't have him on my show for like 2 years, and he's actually not doing his podcast. And because his family's from Haiti, I reached out to him because I was like, there has to be like, since you still have family that lives here, talk about it. Like he's been trying to find like charities. That's going to be the hardest thing is like finding charities and because it seems like with Haiti, all this money somehow goes to charities, but it doesn't seem like the country's getting any better. And I'm hoping that with Afghanistan, that's rough. Like I saw one charity for like women in Afghanistan. It's like, man, I don't know. Does it work? Does it not?
See my birthday fundraiser.
And yeah,
I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that because I don't know where the money's actually going. So that's part of the problem.
What you should do is donate your money to like build a wall because the border wall that money goes to a good cause. Yeah. That's what I hear anyway.
Yeah. Just like the guy who did the wounded vets ended up getting all that money. What was it? I forgot. He took all that money and did something with it. I don't remember. They're the grifters and shit.
One of the guys who got pardoned, I don't know if it was Flynn, but Flynn has become a big QAnon guy.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, him and his.
And the best part was like Mike Lindell did his whole symposium, and he was like, on the 13th, Trump will be reinstated. And then he turned out, first of all, he kept all the media away, and then he had nothing. And the guy I follow was Zach Patrizio, something. He follows all like Mike Lindell. Apparently, Mike Lindell tried to get like the South Dakota police. He said the South Dakota police were going to look into him because he thought he was Antifa. Yeah. But then he called the South Dakota police and they were like, yeah, we're not investigating you. And he said like Antifa attacked him. And then somebody said, I saw that. I think somebody attacked him with a tangerine. And then they did that line from Miss Doubtfire. Was it a run by fruiting? The guy like makes a fool of himself and he must, I don't know. He's still making money somehow.
He's legit crazy.
Because half of his stuff, I mean, didn't you watch one of his movies? What was it?
I started to. I couldn't get through it.
Every time he talks, it's like he dresses like Trump and he doesn't make any sense. And he says he has all this proof and he's never shown anything. But people just people really want to believe. Like there are things happening. I mean, there's some shady shit that the government does, but it's like, and the only problem is this whole situation, there are going to be like some close situations where Democrats lose and the Republicans cheat, and they're not going to audit it because audit's like a bad word. And the Democrats are going a little too hard, leaning too hard into the like, our systems are impenetrable.
Oh my God.
I mean, I can guarantee if you really looked into the Trump thing, his side did more cheating, and they still lost. That's how freaking pathetic he is. And I don't know why people keep following him because he's like the football team that just loses every game, yet somehow keeps getting extensions. I have no idea because there's nothing you see and go, wow, that's good. But, he's going to be the next Jesus probably. So that's good. It's good to know.
No, he's totally just like Jesus, though. He's totally. You know, it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. He's totally behind that.
Well, I would say he's broke, but he seems to be making a lot of money out of not.
Oh, he's got some
That'll
offshore
be
accounts.
really fascinating. Like, will he actually run, or will they try to do that Christie Nome or DeSantis or Abbott or one of these other people that can't I don't know why they can't hold the audience like he does, but it's good that they can't. Like Josh Hawley, dude lives in freaking Virginia and he's a senator in Missouri. He's terrible.
Terrible. Hell, they all are.
Anyway, I'd ask you to tell people where to find you, but it's kind of where I am too. So all good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to get into
Post drunk polymath.
Sure. More like drunk polymath, pre and post, and in the moment, present.
Moon pie beer.
So
Where
you got
has
KBS, and I didn't want to pay $18.
KBS?
That's
It's everywhere.
Just collecting dust, yeah. Because
Well, the thing is, I see the espresso version. I don't see. They had another one that I liked. I'm trying to remember what it was, but
I like Mackinac fudge. That's what I like.
right, that one. If you just held the coffee, that's the thing. You got to throw coffee into every stout. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like if there was a way to like extract the coffee bitter part, and you could have it, and then I could have the other part, that'd be great. That'd be perfect.
Wait a minute now. I didn't say I liked all that coffee.
Mm-hmm.
A little
Too
bit's
bad.
okay, but I ain't taking the whole thing, man.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm sure I have a few things that somehow you didn't consume last time, so we'll see how it goes next time in Nashville.
I failed a little bit last time, but 3 days drinking after giving blood. Let's go ahead and public service announcement on that. Don't do
don't plan on giving blood right around then.
And eat hot chicken as your only meal of the day. And you're 6 years old.
What not to do. All right, well.
Now you know thing. Okay.
Thank you, Chris, for being on. It's been fun.
Thanks for having me on once again, Zach. I appreciate it.
Until next time.
Y'all take it easy now.